I'm a naturalist at heart. I think that we have to live in harmony with where we are. And sometimes I think people see that conserving wildlife and conserving nature and forwarding the mission don't always go hand in hand. So I think that's really our job here at NSWC Dahlgren Environmental. I can help the wildlife, make sure they're protected, but still help get the mission done. So a big part of our job is looking at SOPs, standard operating procedures. If there's the potential for wildlife to be impacted, we put mitigations in place to make sure that our activities aren't harming anything that's out there. For example, we use lookouts for every test on the range. Their job is to look out and make sure that the range is clear before any operations take place. And it's especially important on the river when the boats are out and operating, because we have what's called the Marine Mammal Protection Act. And we do have dolphins up all the way up here. So we did a study to make sure that we were continuing to not have negative impacts on the dolphins. Another one that we're doing for conservation, it hasn't been funded yet, but we're working on trying to rebuild some of the historic oyster beds out on the Potomac River. And that's a great project because not only are we giving back to the environment, but the oyster beds naturally help filter the water, so we can potentially make the water cleaner. Clean water is really important for the sturgeon. It provides a better spawning ground for the Atlantic sturgeon. Sturgeons are prehistoric fish. They've existed for more than 120 million years. And it's a very important fish for this area. It's native, it's a big fish. It used to be big for commercial fishing, but they've just been overfished. Sturgeons are a really important fish species. They are considered indicators of a healthy ecosystem because they do require this clean water to live. And the Potomac River has also been designated as what's called critical habitat for the sturgeon. That means that some of the areas in the Potomac River are ideal spawning grounds. So we know we have sturgeon out there. We want to make sure we're not hurting them. So we are currently working a project to do modeling to make sure that our actions out there are not having a negative impact. The NSWCDD is very conscientious about protecting wildlife, protecting the public, and not only protecting what's there, but we don't want to degrade anything that's already there. The eagles are here year-round. We absolutely make sure that when they're nesting, we don't impinge on their nests in their areas. And then the osprey come back mid-March, and they'll start nesting. And that's an exciting time for us in environmental, but a challenging time for the people in the tech departments, because once an osprey nest is established, we can't do anything that changes their behavior. And for the tech departments, that can be challenging because they may have to change the location of their test, the timing of day or year that they perform a test, or even wait until chicks fledge before they perform a test at all. The range personnel are absolutely incredible. They know, they reach out anytime there's a question.
When this program started back in '83 or so, when we started actually tracking eagle nests, we had one here. And now we've had up to 12. I mean, we have 15 or so, but at 12 or so active. We do bird mist netting surveys, long-term bird mist netting surveys, which kind of gives you an idea of the types of birds migrating through here. I also inventory the ospreys each year, and we have about 35 nests, active nests here.
The collaboration with NSASP South Potomac and NAVFAC Environmental, obviously we have to work very close together. We can't work in a bubble. We say that we are mission focused and they work more on conservation efforts. We have to get the mission going. They, on the other hand, have the lucky task of seeing if we can create more meadows and habitats. So we work with them very closely on all our projects.
We have kind of a list of different avian bird species, reptile and amphibian species, plant species, mammals and such. It's gotta be thousands. We have a bunch of designs on the way to protect the shoreline, like ready for construction, permitted and everything. So I'm currently working with NSWC range personnel to coordinate and just trying to get everything set up so we can actually construct some of these stabilization features.
This is a reconstructed wetlands. This was completely a NAVFAC project, but it helps NSWC and it helps NSWC's mission because we are the largest tenant on the base. We do a lot of research, development, test activities outside.
So we kind of like collaborate quite a bit. NSWC's environmental group will get wind of certain projects coming through sometimes when we don't, and then I do it vice versa as well. So it helps to have two groups, and especially two groups that communicate very well with one another to minimize impacts and such.
We work very hard to make sure that the mission can go on and the technical departments can do the work that they need to do. So we feel like we're doing our part to help the fleet and the sailors out there do their job.